Good morning. What's happening?
Hello.
How are you?
Nothing's happening. Everything's happening. We're doing an OverAndOut show. It's episode 44. All that kind of stuff.
Go. We're done. We're in. We're into it.
We're in.
Well,
sorry. Yeah, straight away. I was watching. I saw something. Okay. I've got Disney Plus, so
Okay.
that because I want to watch The Mandalorian, and I got the discount thing. So if you buy it for a year, and Matt, they're doing that stupid thing where they only release it like once a week. So I've had to wait 8 weeks or something for all the episodes to come out, which is okay and bad and good all at the same time. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I was looking through seeing what else is on there, and because Disney own Marvel and Lego and Simpsons and everything, they own everything. I noticed they had Pirates of the Caribbean on there, and it's one of my favourite films, and I forgot that that's a Disney film, and I clicked on it, and do you know when that was made?
Pirates of the Caribbean. What year are we? 2020. Pirates of the Caribbean must have been 2004.
It's 2003.
Oh, that wasn't a bad
You're
guess.
very good. That was a very good guess, but like I was watching that's 17 years ago. I remember seeing that in the cinema, and I was like, that's almost 20 years old. And then you watch it, and Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, and Johnny Depp, they all look really 17 years younger.
Yeah.
And I just think, Jesus, what I was like early 20s.
That's mad, isn't it? I was working in the cinema. That's the only reason I kind of got close to that date.
Oh, yeah.
Because I started working in the cinema in 2001. I worked there for like 7 years. So I remember there were certain films that came out. And it's funny, like there's certain films that like I'll remember from being in the cinema, from like having to clean screens, or from having like certain intros from having to seat people with a torch, and then certain outros from when you had to go in and clean cinemas. So there's like certain songs. I'm like, as soon as they come on, I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm back.
I have
I should get up and start brushing.
I have exactly the same thing with Blockbuster, because we had to have those discs that you put in, like all the adverts. So when people come in, they just see all the films coming out. So like there's a certain era of my life where all I freaking heard was "Sweet Home Alabama" with Reese Witherspoon in it, and there's this one phrase in it when she goes, someone says, "You've got a baby in a bar." And that's all I heard for years.
Isn't it funny how you play the same ones as well, over and over and over?
Because we used to end up taking them out and just playing our own films, but you're not allowed to do that generally. So unless, of course, the actual disc turns up broken, which it would seem to always to be scratched.
Yeah.
And obviously you can't like shove RoboCop on or whatever. So we just have like Disney films on, or like PG films, or 12 if it was certain times of the day. But yeah, we just used to do that. And it's just funny how that era, like Yasmin always goes, "Oh, do you want to watch this film?" I'm like, I immediately know all the words to those films for no apparent reason.
So you worked,
it's just that era.
You worked in. So were you behind the counter? You were just the dude like that, just kicking back, waiting for people to come up with a box. So were you there for VHS or just DVD?
They still had some VHS, yeah, but it was mostly DVD at the point. This was probably like 2000. Well, it's around the time Pirates of the Caribbean came out.
Wasn't VHS just such a delightful experience going to a VHS store? I didn't get the same vibe from DVD. When you used to go in, and when I went to DVD, I think we sort of slowly stopped. I didn't like that whole going in, given the disc thing. The guy, you walk out with the disc, and then the disc is scratched. And if the disc is scratched, you're a little bit annoyed at the last prick that had it and scratched it.
Yeah,
but
because it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, but there was there was something really impersonal about the DVD. But VHS, man, there was something fun about that. When you had to walk up and you'd have to look, and there was only ever like sometimes there was 2 of a movie, and sometimes there was 3 if it was really popular. And they used to stick those little stickers on the box, because the box was like the spine of a VHS box was so big and thick. You could put a good old already out sticker, out, rented, currently not here sticker, big yellow or big red sticker, bang. And you would just be like, I just remember as a kid just going through those like friggin' shelves of VHSs, and then you'd get that box and you'd carry that box up, and then they would hand you over that white take-home box. I mean, that was the one I had as a kid. But I don't know what I actually don't remember what it was like at Blockbuster.
Well, actually, because when I first started, not at Blockbuster, but when my mum used to take me to go and we'd rent VHS.
Yeah.
You know, you'd get one a week. That was a treat. You know, at the weekend. And the place I went to was called Apollo. I think it was. It was like it had a blue logo, like a blue stripes and a white logo, or white and red, I think it was. And then I think it changed to Odeon or something.
Okay.
But no, was it Odeon? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, you used to get that. It was like it had the logo all over the box. It was like a white box with Apollo written on it.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Oh, exactly.
And it was a special moment. And there were times like, what was like there were certain films that I just remember on VHS, like Monsters Under the Bed or something with Fred Savage. And it had that weird looking monster.
Yeah.
And I used to love those days when I'd be sick at school for some reason and my mum would have to come and pick me up and she'd buy me a bottle of Lucozade and we'd pick up a VHS on the way home.
It was such a treat, wasn't it?
It was legendary.
It was so good because there was just like I don't know, there was just something about it. I think as if you found the one that you wanted and it was there, and that someone had already brought it back because it wasn't late, and you got it and you carried it up and it was an empty box and they handed you over. And sometimes like my parents would have done like 3. It would have been like 3 for the weekend, kind of thing, and they would you would get 1 overnight or 3 for the weekend, and they'd give you the 3, and they'd be like, we would pick one. My brother and I'd pick a kid's one. And then we'd pick like a general family one for all of us. And then my parents would always pick one for them. And
that's totally what we'd do as well.
Yeah, isn't it? And then you'd go back and and they'd give you those 3 thick. And they were like thick, hard, indestructible plastic cases.
And did you ever get the thing where sometimes your parents would choose something? And maybe it was like I can't think of it like one of the films, but it was like a Michael Douglas film.
Yeah.
You know, where it's slightly adult, maybe Romancing the Stone or something that was a bit more adult. But like... And if you were really lucky and you were good, your parents would let you stay up and watch that movie with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you'd
dude.
be like, oh, they said shit. If you're lucky, you know, there might be quite a good-looking lady in it that might show a bit of something.
If ever there was a love scene, if ever there was any sort of... My parents would be like, yeah, turn away, you have to look at the wall. So we'd have to like look at the wall. Close your ears. Close your eyes. Can't do it all at once. Your eyes close automatically, son. Just put your hands over your ears.
Yasmin's parents, when we were living with them for a while, there'd be certain times and they'd go, oh, you know, I've read about this movie. We should all watch that together, and I'll know what happens in that movie. And so will Yasmin. We're like, we're not watching that with you.
Yeah,
absolutely no, because we know at 1 hour 35, someone gets it out. And it's a rather gratuitous 5-minute scene of stuff I don't want to watch with Yasmin's parents.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know you think this is all about lawyers, but there's a boob drop in the middle of this entire thing. And then you're like, all right. Everyone's looking at each other and you're like...
The worst thing is when we watch a film, none of us know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you're all kind of sitting there going, and there's part of me going, shall I just forward this bit? Just save everyone the hassle? Oh, it's really weird.
I was such But it was just like, I don't know, like my 2 kids, so I have this real old iMac, like an old 24-inch. I've got a 21-inch behind me here and a MacBook, but I've got this old 24-inch iMac from like donkeys ago. I got that when I was, Jesus, it must 2006 or something like that. Effectively, it's just a doorstop now. But it only, you can use Photoshop on it. It takes 7 years to open, but it literally only plays Netflix on Safari and nothing else. No other browsers work. Nothing can be updated. It's completely useless. You can't even update the actual hardware in it because nothing's compatible with the build in it. So, and I maxed it out years ago. So I just set it up in the kids' room, put Netflix on in it, and basically showed Noah how to operate it. And then when we can't be bothered with them, we'll just send them to the room at night and go, you can watch an hour of cartoons or a movie on Netflix. But it's funny when you watch them using Netflix. Oh, by the way, someone messaged us saying Love Film, because we talked about this recently. Love Film became Amazon, was bought by Amazon or owned by Amazon. It didn't become Netflix.
Yeah, well, we do proper facts, don't we?
Yeah.
We know everything.
So, correction on that.
Someone also commented as well, I sang we were singing David Bowie the other day. They said, actually, that's not the right song that I referenced.
Oh, was it?
And it's like, I looked at it and went, yeah, but they kind of all sound the same. So, yeah, I know.
I couldn't even correct you because I don't really listen to Bowie at all. So.
Someone else had to correct us.
Yeah.
You know,
always,
so there we go. But don't correct us because we're always right.
Yeah, well, do correct us because we're probably never right. But what was I talking about there?
Oh, you were talking about locking your kids in a room and making them watch Netflix.
Making them watch Netflix. So see when I watch, like when they watch Netflix, it's quite mad because they'll just like, they'll be watching and I'll be like, nah, skip to the next thing. Nah, I don't want to watch this. Yeah, and they'll just like move between shows, or they'll be like, oh, there's nothing to watch on this, and I'm like, there's about 10 million different cartoons on Netflix you could watch. It would keep you occupied for days.
Listen,
and,
you chumps.
Yeah, and they're like,
go back to 1989.
Yeah,
let's talk about this again.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, and then you end up doing that. Listen, when I was a kid, right, and like when I should explain this.
And you had coal for Christmas.
If you were good, it was an orange. I was trying to explain to them about the concept of the VHS store, and they're just looking at me like they had no idea what I was talking about. They're like, I don't know what you mean, Dad, but any chance we could just use Amazon Prime here and watch something. And I think it's like that whole, like we try to do a movie night on a Saturday. Now, quarantine has completely killed that because it's just like, what day is it? Should we just do a movie night?
Every day's a movie night. Yeah.
But we try to do every Saturday at about 6 o'clock. We stick a movie on, and it'll just be like, oh, 6 or 7, something like that. We'll all just sit down and watch some sort of family movie. We've been doing the Harry Potter ones at the minute.
Okay.
And it's kind of trying to create that thing, that excitement around watching a movie as a family, because it was such a big deal growing up. Like when you would go that whole journey, when your parents said to you, like there were two things my parents used to say to me, and I usually, as a kid, and you just get, I don't know if you were the same, get so excited. We're gonna go get a VHS, we're gonna go get a tape from the tape store, or we're going out for dinner, and you were like, results. Like going out for dinner. If your parents told you like on a Friday, we're gonna go out for dinner tonight after, and you're like, shit the bed, what a day it's gonna be.
This sounds awful, and Yasmin's going to kill me. But when we were young, we used to have a treat of like we'd go to McDonald's at the weekend. Yeah, because and it's just like nuts. It's like, insane. Now I'm like, I would want to go to McDonald's. I go to McDonald's if I absolutely have to.
You and I always go to McDonald's. I'm a joke.
Yeah, that's because I absolutely have to. No, you don't give me any other options. It's like, oh, you can go to McDonald's or just die of hunger.
To be honest with you, the McDonald's thing as a kid, like I remember McDonald's opening in South Africa, and we only ever had it a few times. I don't remember doing it a lot. Like I can only remember like 10 times having a McDonald's as a kid, and like 5 of those were probably just McFlurries. I just remember being blown away by the drive-thru. But we had so much other amazing food and our own takeaways and stuff there. Like it wasn't a big thing, but yeah, it was the same idea. You'd go away, you'd get a takeaway, or you'd go out for dinner, and it was such an event. And the VHS, that whole experience was just, there was something about it. You'd get home, you'd get the VHS, you'd open, the 3 boxes would look the same. You'd open the boxes up to find out which one was yours, and then it would just say, there'd be a white sticker, and it would just say Spider-Man, and you'd be like, yes. And it was like, whenever I think back to like VHS that I remember getting, I always remember getting these really early edition Spider-Man movies where the guy was basically in a cloth outfit, and he was swinging from rope.
They used to just but they used to flip the camera up that way. Yeah, and so he'd be like walking up the wall. Yeah,
it was just like and it was like 2 of them, and I was like, oh my god, Spider-Man, an actual Spider-Man, not even the cartoon. Yeah, and then the other one was Matt Berenger. No, it's Matt Berenger. Not Matt Berenger. He's a BMX rider. Berenger, the sniper. The original sniper.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
I know the guy you're talking about.
It is Berenger, but it's not Matt. Remember him?
He has the scar on his face, right?
The original sniper. Ghillie suits before Call of Duty. Man, we used to rent that movie out all the time. We were always like, that's the thing as well. You would go down and rent out the same movie that you'd watched before.
I know.
And your parents would be like, you've watched that before. And I'm like, please, can we get it again? And they were always begging them to do that. And I was like, it was nuts. I actually used to date this girl here back in the cinema days. And she lived like next to a VHS store. And it was like one of the last VHS stores in the area. And she had an old VHS TV. You know, the one with the actual cassette thing actually under it?
Oh, yeah.
One of those.
I used to have one of those, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we used to have one, but she like legit used that for up until like 2006 probably. She was using this. And come on, she I'm not joking, right? It was like a blockbuster size VHS store, and she watched every single video in it. She was right next door. Like, she just used to go downstairs whenever she wanted to watch something. So for like 3 years, she just used to go and get a VHS, and she watched every single VHS in the entire shop. And I was like, and she
That's
got to the point
amazing.
where she's like, I've watched everything. And I was like, what do you mean you've watched? What do you mean? She's like, I watched every video, even the ones I didn't want to watch. I've just watched them. And I was like, cartoons? She's like, yeah, hard out cartoons as well. I was like, this is insane. Because I can only
That's
imagine.
funny now.
I wonder if she's benefiting from, Prime or Netflix.
Certainly in pub quizzes,
Yeah.
she'll be
Actually,
she'll be a movie person.
Was a pub
You
quiz
want
person
her.
as well. But yeah, I just think that whole like experience is kind of just dissipated, hasn't it? It doesn't
But
feel as
do you-
special.
Do your kids get excited when you go, right, we're going to go out on the bikes on the one wheel, we're going to go walk in the park? We're going to do like a day. Oh, like, was it the other day you took your kids to see it? Was it a castle or something? Or you wanted to go? Do they get excited by that?
Yeah, they do. Well,
Because
I make more of an event.
You remember when
out
you
of
were
it.
a kid? Yeah, because you remember when you were a kid. Did you ever get this when their mum goes, oh, they used to do this thing where, oh, we're going to go out for a walk on Sunday afternoon. It's like, oh, a walk? No. And then we'd go and walk around, and if we're lucky, we may stop off at a pub, and I'd get a Coke, and they'd do whatever parents do at the time.
Yeah.
But like that was like not the event. The video is the event. But I'm wondering, because your kids are like so bored by Netflix, oh, just watch this, watch this, watch this. That's no longer being able to have everything all the time, all the things all the time.
Everything all the time.
It doesn't. But for them, the sort of highlight or the exciting thing when dad goes, oh, we're going to go and do this castle thing, or we're going to go and see the goats in the zoo, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah,
is that, or we're going to go for a walk.
Gonna go. Yeah, well, we're not like let's go for a walk kind of people. Actually, if I ask my kids to walk anywhere, they look at me like I'm insane. Like it's taken. Like yesterday, we just walked down to the butcher's to get food, and I was like, let's just do a walk, all of us, so we can all get a bit of fresh air. And then we got there, and then we got the stuff, and then we left.
Yeah.
My daughter was like, where are we going now? And I'm like, home. She was like, why? And I was like, we got the stuff from the butcher's. She couldn't believe it. Why did we do this? And I was like, what do you mean? Why did we do this? For fresh air, love. Right? Currently it's being polluted by your nonsense.
I love the fact that she literally saw your actions as totally pointless.
Yeah, she couldn't understand why we had done that without like going and doing anything else.
Yeah. Or we're not going to go to an ice cream? Go to the park?
Well, that's
what?
that's a thing. Like I try to stop. Like they'll always be like. Now, admittedly, we don't do little things like that. Like we should really be walking a lot more. But I guess they are a bit funny with things like that. So they expect every time they go out that there'll be some sort of reward. Because if they
reward system.
Yeah, because if they do go out on like little like local walks in Bangor, it'll normally be like the odd time when my mom and dad go pick them up and take them for a walk, or my sister will pick them up and walk them down to Bangor for an ice cream or something like that, or like it'd be an after school hot chocolate. But I am just like, let's go to the park, and then we're like, they get to the park and they're like, right, when are we getting an ice cream? I'm like, we're not. And I'm like, oh, and they look at me. I'm like, the park's the thing. Do the park,
Yeah.
and then we go home. Jesus, come on, seriously. So I've been taking them down a few times just to get them like climbing trees and simple stuff. Because you end up being that kid you end up being that parent that's just keeps saying, "See you when I was a kid." So we made our kids our movie night on the weekend. There, we watched The Sandlot.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
The baseball one,
Yeah,
isn't it?
what a film!
Yeah.
What a film!
Yeah, I only saw that for the first time, like literally, was it last year?
Oh, really?
Year before last? Yeah, because my friend Sin in the States, she was like, "You've not seen The Sandlot, kids?" And
Yeah.
she was like, "We have to watch this
Oh,
now."
dude, it's so good.
So we did.
That's one of those movies I used to just love as a kid. That Mighty Ducks, all those sorts of films, you know,
Oh,
Little
Mighty Ducks,
Rascals,
yeah,
all
yeah.
those little. And we were watching the video, like the film, laughing, and our kids couldn't.
The video.
The video.
All right, Dad. I still call it a video. Should we watch a video? And it's like, it streams now, Granddad.
Yeah.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah. I know, it's funny that, isn't it?
I don't even have a video.
Do you remember when you used to stick
I
the-
have videos.
You really used to
but, like,
stick the VHS in, right? And then it'd be that one time you got the VHS, the dick before didn't rewind. I don't know what your protocol was. That my dad brought me up, rewind the video. When you finished, rewind it.
You rewind
and you
it.
never,
Yeah, 100%.
you never rewound or fast forwarded while it was playing. And we used to do it. We were like, just wind it back while it was still playing, or while or fast forward it.
You get that little squeaky noise.
And my dad would be like, "What are you doing?" That's how you destroy the heads on the VHS machine. And to this day, I don't know if that's true, or if that was just a thing Dad used to say. you're gonna
'Cause
destroy
it
the
annoyed
heads.
him.
Yeah, because it irritated him. But
Actually, there is a thing like with the heads. It's the same as cassette players. Is that I think there is a thing where you actually meant to clean them. I don't think I've ever cleaned a VHS head or a cassette player.
Oh, we
head,
used to clean
ever.
it. I remember a VHS one being clean. My dad had a special one, like a special tape for it. You would put it in and it would go through.
Oh,
and
actually,
clean the
no,
heads.
we had a
but
tape.
never for a
That was
cassette
it,
tape,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had them for cassette tapes as well.
And do you remember
that, yeah.
when VHS tapes had the little pop-up bit? And you can put
Sellotape over
no,
it.
you could put the side, so you couldn't record. You'd put tape on the
No,
side.
you put but when you'd get like a video that you weren't meant to record over, you put sellotape over that hole,
Yeah.
and you could record on it.
That's what it was.
The same
yeah.
with the cassette tape as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because remember, if you had a really good mixtape that you'd made, you'd go with like get a pencil in there, rip
Yeah.
out the plastic
Oh yeah.
bits on
Pop
top,
the little black.
so no
yeah,
one
Yeah.
could record over your
That's
very
right.
special.
That's right. And I mean,
what's
if you
it
think
called?
about it, we have
Cassette
that on SD cards now. That little switch. It's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially.
Which I always forget exists. And I'm like, what is this switch? Oh yeah, that's so you can lock the card. I don't think I've ever locked the
Yeah.
card ever.
I don't think I've ever
used
locked
that
the card.
switch. But do you remember you
I
stuck
think
the
it's
VHS
totally
in
redundant.
and played it, and it would do that little bit
Yeah.
where it would be like sort of like band itself up and down while the
Yeah.
tape worked out what the hell has happened, because it's like I've been in it's like I've been in a box for a week, and then eventually and you get that little bit of noise coming from it, all that shit. Like
Yeah.
I just had. Whereas now,
It's so tangible, isn't it?
It was tangible, and it wasn't frustrating. You'd play it, and it would go, and you'd be like, wait for it, like, come on. But I wouldn't get the annoyance from that as I would from a buffer now. Buffer, if I hit play and it buffers, I'm just like, I go from calm guy to fire coming out of fingertips. I just want to burn it, like, don't.
It's like the Emperor out of Star Wars.
I hate buffer. I can't be dealing with that.
The thing, but that goes back to what we were saying, is that I think there was a thing like back in the 80s and 90s and previous to that as well, where things were built and there was a patience side to it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you get a video, you have to, and the thing, even if you had to rewind it, you'd be like, oh, for God's sake. But you'd rewind it, then the video would play, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
It was just a process you had to go through. Now you stream something like, oh, let's rent this or whatever, and it's like it doesn't play immediately. It's like, I'm paying $9.99 a month for this,
Yeah.
and then 50 quid a month for my internet.
Yeah.
Why doesn't this work? I want it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
yeah.
tomorrow. Not, in fact, not even in 30 seconds. In fact, I've turned stuff off. If it doesn't, like, actually, Yasmin and I, we got Apple TV, and we don't actually have normal TV, but we still have, there's an app on it called TV Player.
Yeah.
And this thing, I am so close to deleting it. Unfortunately, there isn't a way, you just go, delete. Whereas what I used to do with like cassette tapes when they stopped work is I'd take it out of the tape player in the car, break it in half and throw it out the window.
I've done that with CDs. I've frisbeed CDs out of the window of my car before.
I feel really
Goodbye.
bad because obviously we didn't know about global warming.
Yeah.
And
Obviously, I went
littering.
back and collected
And plus,
a CD.
I was a dumb, stupid early 20s. Because I'd get so angry because
Yeah.
like, all I wanted to do was listen to the Deftones. Just like,
Yeah.
throw it out the car. And but you see with that, you can't do that with deleting the app. You just go, oh, I'm going to delete you.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that app was free anyway and didn't really work. And it's like you don't get that satisfaction of deleting it. So
And
I never deleted it.
And
But
the
this
best
TV
you can
player,
get is to just hit a 1 star and write, this app's shit.
yeah, and no one cares
No,
because
no
everything nothing on the internet's real.
Yeah.
So then no one will believe you. But that TV player app is the worst app. Every now and then, no, actually, every time we log into it, it goes, enter your password and username. I'm like, I did this yesterday. I did this yesterday, you mother. And then I'll go, fine, okay, I'll enter it in, and I have to use my phone because I have to remember the password and all that. I don't know what it is. Got a million passwords. Next day, Yasmin goes, oh, can we check out that thing on like Channel 3 or whatever? I'm like, yeah, fine. Again, can you enter your username and password? And I'm like, I'm deleting this app, honey. I said, you're just going to have to go without TV because if I can't delete that app, the Apple TV is going out the window and then we have nothing.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm just going to take the whole TV off and the whole thing's going out.
Yeah.
So that's the problem now, is when you have a problem with the internet or an app, other things suffer.
Yeah.
Like when Adobe Audition or anything on Adobe doesn't work, it's like your computer crashes,
Bluetooth.
and then you have
smash
to
smash up a mouse.
yeah, exactly. And so when Adobe doesn't work, you can't just go, I tell you what, Adobe, or Mr. Adobe, you go and punch him in the face and feel better, or actually just throw Adobe, the disc, out the window. You can't do that. So you end up smashing things like mice of your laptop.
Yeah.
And it's Adobe's fault, 100%.
Yeah. I have to admit, generally,
ridiculous.
I'm not an Apple TV fan. I have the older Apple TV, and I don't know if the new one's any different. I've lost the remote, and I have an old remote that works when I can find it. I use the remote on my phone, which blew my mind how long it took for there to be a successful remote on your phone. Like, that actually blew my mind. But
mine works pretty well, actually, on the
phone
new,
remote.
I think I've got the 4K one. Yeah, the phone remote.
Oh, no, the phone remote works
that,
great now, but I just mean, like, 3 years ago I wanted a phone remote for my Apple TV, and it didn't exist, and I was like, this is ridiculous. But I was watching it. So here, get this, right, for a depressing story, and I'll bring it back around to Apple TV.
Okay.
So for the folks out there, Ryan asked me what my Virgin internet was like, because we just went, if you've maybe heard the story, ramped it up to the max. Ryan gets Virgin, says to me, dude, this internet is so quick, and I was like, it's amazing, isn't it? And then a couple of days ago, Virgin crashes. Everything.
The whole of Virgin
across the whole
crashes,
nation, everything. No one knows what. So we got no internet. It's intermittent. Wi-Fi keeps dropping out. I was editing, so I didn't realize. And then I heard Pamela go to bed. She's like, I'm off to bed. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll go and watch the rest of Afterlife. So I walked downstairs, and I normally don't go this peacefully and do this, but I went and I into the freezer, and I snuck my Ben and Jerry's fish food out. And I thought, I'm going to sit down, made a cup of tea. But I thought, I'll get the Ben and Jerry's out, put it out first, take a little of it, let it soften, make the cup of tea, come back down, pop on Afterlife, eat half a tub of Ben and Jerry's at 10 o'clock at night, and watch. Yeah, well, effectively, it nearly ended up doing that, because it was totally dark in the room. But I walked in with my cup of tea after I made it, sat down, lifted my Ben and Jerry's up, stuck my spoon in it. I was like, oh, ready to go. Turned on the TV, went to Netflix. Wait, Netflix logo. Netflix logo. Error code. I was like, no.
Oh.
No, please no. Exit app. Open app. Error code. Switch off Wi-Fi. Go back on. Error code. I'm like, what's this about? Look on my phone, and it just says outage of Virgin across like the whole. I was like, so do you know what I did? I just sat there and in darkness in my living room, like there were no lights on, and I just ate my Ben and Jerry's in the dark. And I was like, well, it's soft, but it was kind of like a depression. I just sort of ate it in a sad mood, and then I was like, this is dog shit. What am I gonna do? And I was like, what do I do? Like, I can't use my TV at all, because it's all through we ripped all our cables out of the wall. It's only that. And then I worked out Apple TV's plugged in, so I was able to bypass the Wi-Fi but you can't disconnect Wi-Fi manually, because in Apple TV doesn't work. So you have to try to play something through the internet. Then the phone goes, your Wi-Fi is not connected. Would you like to use 4G? Yes, please, because I have 80 gigabytes a month to stream on 4G. So let's do it. So I hopped onto that, and because I'd done it that way, it allowed me to use 4G to stream YouTube, and then I could play YouTube through Apple TV. But that whole process, the Netflix and Amazon and Now TV process, is so smooth and seamless that process through Apple TV felt so antiquated. Just like I'd hit play, and there would be this like 8-second delay from when I hit play and Apple TV does its own buffer, and I'm like, why are you buffering? It's already buffered on the phone. Play the goddamn YouTube video. I just want to eat my ice cream. And that's... So I ate most of it in the dark, watched one YouTube video, put it in the fridge, and went to bed. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Bring back VHS. So there.
That's true. The thing is though, with VHS, is that it took up a lot of space. I used to have hundreds of VHS. I used to buy, because like HMV used to do all those like deals of like you could buy 3 for a tenner.
Yeah.
And I had everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Like, and then I had to, and now, well, I just sold them.
Yeah, we were the same. Got rid of all that. Got rid of all the
them
DVDs. I kept a handful of CDs that I like. I don't know why. I've slowly thrown CDs
got limited
away.
editions.
Yeah, things like that.
I only kept stuff that I had signed and that kind of thing. But I remember, like, I started selling my CDs in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
When streaming first started happening. It must have been about 2005, 2006, something like that. And that's when you could still get about £8 for a CD on Music Magpie.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And now you can't get anything. And I hate CDs, actually. They're literally, if we're talking about global warming and a waste, they're a waste. CDs are like just don't need them.
No.
Like, no, CDs are completely redundant now. And I still, one of Yasmin's friends still buys Blu-ray, and I'm like,
I don't get that.
why?
I don't understand that.
She's like, well, the quality's better. It's like,
Dog eggs.
you know, cause she's well into, like, you know, she's got the whole cinema surround system thing, and she'll sit there and she's one of those people where they go, oh, you've got to look at this, you've got to watch this on Blu-ray.
You see his
and
eye.
I look at
You
it,
see how sharp his eye is on this, and you're like this.
yeah, and I look at it and go,
yeah,
yeah, that's awesome. And then when she goes, oh, you can turn up the volume as well, I'm like, actually, could you just turn it down a bit? Because right now, Avatar, I can feel it in my rectum.
yeah. I know. We have a surround sound system, and it's got one of those big
Jesus.
bass subwoofer things. And Pamela's
Yeah.
like always got it at maximum, and I'm like, can
Yeah,
we just
like, just turn it
can we
off.
bring that down? Can we actually just unplug that entire? Because we've got it set up, and it actually becomes more of a pain in the ass than it is of any use to
Yeah.
us, because it needs to be controlled separately. But someone's broke the remote, so you have to manually get up and switch the audio on, which is fine if it's like as you walk in the room, switch the audio on. But the issue with it is, it times itself out. So after 10 minutes of inactivity on a TV, it just switches off. Same as my freaking Creative Lab speakers I have attached to my computer. I don't understand. Creative Lab speakers are so good for the price of them. I have 2 different pairs of them. But the more expensive ones I have, I'll be watching, so say I'm editing or watching a YouTube video on a computer. They work great. And then I'll pause and I'll edit, or I'll read some emails, and then I'll be going through some stuff, and then I'll go open up my Final Cut, just flick back to Final Cut to edit, hit play, no audio. And I look at the speakers, and I have to hit pause, and I hit play again, and then the speakers switch back on. I'm like, you're a speaker. Just be on.
Speak.
Forever. Never switch off. There's literally, there's nothing happening until I hit play. So why would you ever need to go onto standby mode? You're plugged into the wall. Just always be on, the same as our JVC soundboard thing. Anyway.
It's saving electricity. That's what it's doing. It thinks it's being clever, and it's not. That's the problem.
Yeah. Smart
all
stuff.
All the things, all the time,
smart.
doing nothing.
Exactly.
Anyway.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We're getting closer to 50.
Yeah. Thanks for taking us on this little journey.
Yeah.
Of nostalgia back to VHS.
It was good,
and when things were better and there was no buffering.
Can
you imagine?
If you remember
back
any
in the
of that,
80s, buffering was a thing you did to your car.
Yeah. Or your chest.
Was that buffing or buffering?
Buffing.
Buffing?
Buffing, yeah.
Is buffing the same as buffering?
No, I don't think
I'm
so.
buffering my car.
No.
Buffering.
No one's buffering their car. Just buffing their car. But do you, are you from our generation or before? What do you remember? VHS, cassette? Do you remember going to the video store? Drop a comment.
Is there a video emoji? Like a VHS emoji?
No, but there's a VHS cam.
Oh,
emoji.
Shove that on. If you've got this far, VHS cam in the comments.
Just before we go, one very last thing. I was watching Screen Rant yesterday on YouTube. Love that guy. Love everything. The whole like pitch meetings theory. I love it.
Genius.
Definitely go watch Screen Rant pitch meetings. The Joker.
Oh, really?
Such a great comment based on the comedy scene, the whole story of how he turns. Do you know the bit where they film him and someone's got footage of him at the stand-up comedy? He basically says in it, this was set in like 1983 when he did the stand-up comedy. Who filmed him? Because they didn't even have VHS camcorders in 1983. They only had Super 8. So someone must have been down at an amateur night comedy thing, filming somebody with a Super 8 camera, taking that Super 8 and getting it developed, and then supplying that to the TV broadcast. I thought that was great. Go and have a watch. Screen Rant.
I didn't even think. Well, I suppose it's timeless. I never thought it was 80s. I thought it could have been 90s.
It actually is set in that. Like, I think it actually there's a date stamp on it at the beginning. Anyway, we digress.
Anyway,
thanks for listening. Catch you guys in the next episode. See ya, pals.
Well, we're just going to do that now.